Welcome, Max, Emerson, Taylor, to the Setting It Straight podcast. My name is Jack Giz.
My name is Sam Rainey.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for being here. Before we start, we should probably say that we are 6 feet apart for sure.
Yeah, we took off our masks right when we sat down. We're trying to maintain this, bring the content, but also not put anyone in danger.
You guys keep it safe. I love it.
Yeah.
You gotta do something.
Yeah. So you grew up in Halifax.
Absolutely.
It went to Sacred Hearts, right?
That's right. Sacred Heart, the big all-boys school. That was the way to do it. I had the gang with me. Me and my gang pull up. That's the way to do it, man. And yeah, that's pretty much. I went to Halifax Independent School, elementary. I've been around the city,
Yeah.
I lived down in Ingramsport for a little bit, Bedford, in the city.
That's
I know
crazy.
the city.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now.
I feel like growing up somewhere, all the nooks and crannies and like where all the fun things are happening.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No.
And as a kid too, it's like I was bored all the time, so just drive around.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, we grew up in spent years in Charlottetown. That's all we can really do. So
Yeah, it's all nooks and crannies. There's not much left.
That's what you gotta do sometimes. It's just the best thing to just drive around. Like that's my main thing that I like to do too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
The city just like that.
I mean, Halifax isn't so bad as long as you avoid like the 2 hours of like actual traffic, and then you're fine.
Yeah.
But no, these days I've just been skating around.
That's the way
Got
to
my
do
own
it.
board, and
Yeah.
Halifax is so great for that.
You
Like,
skate?
yeah.
You do it?
I mean, I got messed up shoes. Yeah, so I'm all right. I can do about an ollie and a half a kick shove it. I think it's
Pop shove.
pop
Hop
shove it.
shove it.
Yeah,
What
but
pop shove it is when you like.
it's when it goes like
Okay.
that one, like it like spins around.
Whoa.
Wait, but half of that would just
Which
be...
mean I can
quarter
spin it
turn?
around,
Just-
and then I
just
only
skating?
I can turn around. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
But no, Halifax is dope for that. It's been a great summer for that. Do you skate? You got the Vans on,
I
man.
got my squiddies on.
Yeah, I hope they keep
I'm not very
Yeah,
coordinated.
I'm getting this shot.
I'm not a very coordinated guy when it comes to my feet, at least.
Okay, you play basketball,
I play
so
basketball a little bit, but it's specifically on standing on things that have wheels.
right.
And I can't.
balance.
Yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
specific thing, but it's true. I can't stand like segways, hoverboards.
So this summer must have been a horrible summer for you,
It's just a
considering
hard
like all the scooters were out, all the skateboarders were out.
Taunting
I haven't
you.
been on the scooter. In fact, you know the logo you see on the front of the Halifax scooters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made that logo.
No way.
really?
Yeah, but I've never been on one.
In what scenario did you...
So my ex-girlfriend, or my campaign manager now, still a good friend. Alan,
Oh,
great
That's
woman.
awesome.
She used to work for Segway in Nova Scotia, and the guy who started Segway in Nova Scotia, Max Restelli, he does all the Halifax scooters.
No way.
So I was like, hey man, you want a logo? So I was doing graphic design back in the day. It's like, yeah man. For
How long ago was that?
A year and a half, 2 years ago? A year and a half
That's
ago?
crazy.
Something like
Wow.
That makes sense. That's about when they started
Yeah.
popping up.
Yeah.
So you got into graphic design? Was that out of your...
I was just really good at Photoshop back in the day.
Oh, okay.
But then I went to school later on for like advertising, to work on advertising portfolio, and I realized that I got a lot of catching up to do with people who are like amazing at it.
Yeah.
The logo's okay. I do like the logo.
I like the
Yeah,
logo.
yeah.
It's simple.
Mhm.
I mean,
They're going for it.
I feel like it's aerodynamic. I can pick up some great speed.
Yeah.
It doesn't hinder it, and that's the most important
That
part.
was my goal the whole time.
Yeah.
And finally someone realizes that.
We just need some
That
flame
logo
decals on the
just
side.
makes it go
yeah.
way faster.
That's like a cool version of the logo where like a dude who's flying off.
Just scooter fan art,
Yeah,
dude.
that's my favorite.
Start a trend.
Yeah.
That's huge. So you studied sports management at Queens?
At Queens, I studied psychology.
Oh, really?
But I was only there for half a year because like my graduating class in high school was like 25 dudes, right?
Right.
If you include the girls' school, it's like 40 people. So like it was so small. Going to Queens with like 30,000 people was like, wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I get stuck on West Campus, which is like 3 kilometers away from all my other friends' campuses, so like 2 kilometers away. So like if I wanted to hang out with somebody, I had to walk there.
That's
It
tough.
sucked. It was a bad situation, right?
That's where the scooters would have come in handy. Ah.
Smart like that, but at the time I didn't realize.
Well,
right?
it was meant to be. You were solving the problems that you had 3 years before.
That's where genius happens.
Yeah,
That's where it comes from.
solving the world's real problems.
But after that, I went down to Bishop. I took the rest of the year off. Went to like London for a little bit, saw the fam. And then went to Bishop's for like sports management, marketing, and like business on the side. And yeah, man, I started small businesses down there. Each one failed
What were some of the
So,
small businesses?
I started one thing. It's called Locker Emerson. It was like a sports blogging website, right? I just like, do esports, basketball, write about different kinds of sports. I only really know a ton about basketball, but I wrote about different sports, try to get ad revenue for there. Yeah, nothing happened. I mean, it just did not take off. That's fine. And then after that, I started like a digital media thing where I'd spend every single day, I'd probably make 25 phone calls a day calling small business, being like, hey, can I make an ad for you? Like, hey, can I make an ad? Trying to get something going.
That's crazy. So you like went full out. Like you're an entrepreneurial spirit.
I think I was. And then when I realized I was really bad at it, I definitely probably needs to change. But then in Halifax, I got back here. And I did the ice cream bike, which that was like the first small business.
You started that?
Oh, I did like an ice cream bike here, and that was like the only small business I've actually made money on.
That's dope.
It was pretty sweet, that thing. But you know, the university thing, I still have 1 year left, and I'm probably gonna finish. We're gonna see how things go. But 1 year, and then
that's dope.
To the top.
It seems like your passions are all over the place. Were they similar to what you were focused on when you were growing up?
I can't say for sure. I mean, it's hard because I was one of those kids that my mom would make do all the school plays, right? So you know, I was never into one thing.
Right.
I think it's important that people diversify too.
100%.
Right now with the whole TikTok thing, I haven't posted video in ages, specifically because I don't people know. Like now I'm doing politics, right? I'm running for mayor. I'm separating these things completely. I think people need to have diversity. You don't have to be stuck in one box. And that was a huge problem I had. Like most of them being stuck in like one little box. So you know what? Let's open this up a little bit.
Yeah. What are you thinking about the future of your TikTok?
It's tough to say. I mean, I made some nice connections from TikTok, right? Like my biggest problem is my following in TikTok is like my core demographic, from what I understand, is like 18 to 30, right? And that's like the least amount of money you can get. Like you do not make money for 18 to 30, like at all, right?
They're all broke college students, teenagers.
That's what it is. So I'm probably gonna still make videos on there, right? But it's more about like the fact that certain people have noticed me on there, which is amazing because then like I have these little connections that I can build off there. But I'll probably just keep using it as kind of like a punching bag to get ideas out. Something else, you know.
I mean, most of your following wouldn't even be in Canada, right?
Most of them's on Canada, and most of them, I think, there's a ton of them. Like someone estimated, like there's probably a couple, like 100,000 people at least who don't have accounts who watch me regularly, who just go on the phone to look.
Just search up your name.
I can't say that's for sure. Because that's just like something someone said once in the TikTok sphere. So like, I don't know how much I can trust them, but because it's like the 18 to 30 thing, it's like a lot of people don't have accounts. Like, I didn't have an account before I made videos, so I just go and watch the same people over and over again.
How long have you been making videos for?
Since quarantine started, I think.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
6 months, just about. I think just about 6 months, like late March.
That's not very long ago, man.
Up before then, but they're just like for a couple buddies.
Yeah.
I delete all of them because they were
just erase the tracks. We're starting fresh now.
We're starting completely fresh now, but that one video is kind of where it all started.
That's so good. That's so good. Like, did you have any aspirations to get into like video, like vlogging, video making at all?
I can't say for sure. I definitely, in Toronto, when I was living there for a couple months, I had like hundreds of jokes written down over the years because I wanted to do stand-up.
No way.
Oh, really?
But I went once, and I guess everyone's first time's terrible.
Yeah.
It was awful. It went so bad, man. Just so bad.
Was it a bar in Toronto?
It was a bar in Toronto, right? And my buddy went up right before me too, and he bombed too. And like we're sitting there, we want to be polite and watch the rest of the show.
Sure.
We're just like tears in our eyes. I had hundreds of jokes ready that I hadn't used yet. And then I posted one video on TikTok. I'm like, you know what? I got hundreds of jokes. Let's just use them in video format, right? So I never expected it at all. But
so you took your jokes from stand-up and applied them to your TikTok.
Yeah, and I had a ton, like in the back of reserve, like a ton.
Just in your drafts?
Yeah, a ton. It was so easy to transition over, right?
Really?
That's
like what are some examples of like things that you transferred over?
Like I'm trying to think specifically, like so start with the milk thing. That was just something I had out in the world, and then I'm trying to think something else like. They're like man, this is so hard. I'm trying to think now.
So all right, you're doing a stand-up set right now.
No, but there was like one. I like to have long form text in some of my things, right? So people make lists and shit.
Yeah.
So I'd have like top 10 lists that I'd like to do on stage.
Oh, and that top 10 thing.
So all the top 10 lists I'd like to do, like I would have done on stage, like top 10 video games, or like top 10 games, and in the middle I would have like an item that's like terrible I'd keep coming back to on stage, right? And then I just happen to work for the video.
Yeah. That's so funny.
That's like the one example I can think of. But there's more. Like,
Yeah.
What was your like style of stand-up?
It was, see, that was my biggest problem, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't really have one because like I don't really have one style of speaking in general. Like, sometimes I can be very serious, and then sometimes I can be way too over the top, like just an insane person. In general, like I'm relatively calm as I go up, right? Like kind of lean back on the chair, do my little thing, you know.
Right.
Sinking into the couch. It's a very deep couch.
Yeah,
It's a deep couch.
I've taken many solid naps on that couch. It's a good couch.
Yeah. Like, this couch is like how I would do the stand-up.
It came with a Nicolas Cage pillow.
But we thought it would steal from the show.
Absolutely.
You reach over, you can grab that pillow. It's right back there.
No. What? I don't want to move it because there's a light underneath me.
Oh, it's all good.
See you in my dreams. I love it.
Little sneak peek. We're we'll sneak peeking in a different episode or something.
Yeah.
Just over the shoulder of the guest.
Maybe we should invite Nick Cage to our next one. Yeah, he knows us.
If there's anyone who will come on of that caliber,
Yeah.
Nick
He's made worse decisions with his career.
He bought an island here, I think. In
What?
Nova Scotia. I'm pretty sure he bought an island.
Wow.
I did not know that.
I would believe that. I think
Honestly,
I've heard that like the reason that he does so many movies is that he compulsively buys just skeletons of old animals and stuff. Like there's no. Yeah.
If he has money, he's like, I need to buy something.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider 3.
You guys have like a good.
Oh, I could not.
Wow. Do you? Do you have any impressions?
I'm like the worst.
Okay.
You could not be a worse impression.
Yeah, I tried. I did theater when I was in high school too.
Oh, right.
And I literally had to be taught how to speak.
Yeah.
Like I could not act for the life of me.
Yeah.
I don't know why they cast me for that role.
Because you were the only person that could sing?
No, probably because I was the only brown guy. No.
Yeah, you played it.
Yeah, I was Anne.
Beautiful Anne. I feel like he's being typecasted though.
This is gonna sound so offensive to say because you're from Charlottetown, but it's like with every school play at Green Gables,
there was actually there's about 3 different Anne of Green Gables plays that have happened, maybe more, but I think no school is allowed to perform it.
Yeah.
So ours is all like Disney stuff.
Yeah. Good songs too. They're catchy as hell.
I don't remember, but like as a kid, I didn't like it because like I'm pretty sure there's a scene in it where you're just like watching like someone be taught in the classroom.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Yeah.
As a kid, I was like, what is this? Like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
This is just class.
Zoned out.
I'm just watching school right now. Classic Anne, man.
Yeah.
She's a real troublemaker.
She's such a troublemaker.
She is. I just wish she'd settle down. Get your priorities straight.
Settle down, man.
Yeah, I believe in her. That's so cool. Like, okay, so you're doing stand up and it doesn't work, and you transfer those skills to TikTok.
And it works.
I've never heard of that before. Yeah. That's so cool.
It was a weird mold because I kind of had to make it as I went along too. Because like the TikTok thing, I'll be honest with you, completely honest. I don't really watch TikTok.
Yeah.
And because if I watch too much, like it affects the shit I make. Right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's like I have to stay off it and then watch other forms of inspiration and then post.
Right.
Like I'll definitely watch like 5 or 10 accounts, right? But like besides that, I can't really watch too much, or else like it starts affecting everything I do.
Yeah.
Like the way like I what I think is funny. I can't do that, right? So it's kind of like I watched this show called I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson.
Oh wow,
man!
That's probably the show that I'm most first on. I've watched that at least 100 times.
I would watch that almost every day.
Yeah,
even though I've seen it like a million times. Mm-hmm. And that's where I get like most of the inspiration.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
It's like the style of it's like someone gets like embarrassed, and like that's what I would do off that thing, right? So.
That's
hilarious.
I can totally see the inspiration.
Yeah.
And now that you know that you're gonna watch more, you understand like there's definitely the same thing that he does. Like someone's embarrassed, someone thinks they're stupid, and then they get angry that they're embarrassed about something.
Yeah.
They put their foot down.
That's so good. What other like Tim Robbins? What other inspirations do you have for your?
Well, besides Tim Robinson, it's kind of like he's definitely number one.
Yeah.
So good.
Have you seen other stuff by him?
I've looked up literally everything I could.
Yeah.
Like I watched like his thing in the characters. I think. It's all that stuff, but I'm trying to think who else. He's definitely number one. I just take bits and pieces from other people, right? Like if I watch someone like different stand-up comedians that a lot of people haven't heard of, like, you know, if you guys have heard of like Mitch Hedberg.
Oh yeah.
Was it? I like to eat rice when I want to eat 1,000 of something.
Yeah.
That's my favorite line.
Yeah, Mitch Hedberg is so good. He's dead now,
Yeah.
Hey, every day I like go listen to Howard Stern in the car.
Right.
So
like old Howard Stern or
new. Live.
Live.
I find the old stuff's a little bit too much. Because back in the day, like I think he was going for ratings, so he had to be crazier to keep it.
Right.
But now he's like, I'm a satellite. Like people are gonna watch no matter what.
Now he's like a chess master. Like he's crazy. I don't know.
But yeah, that's what he's doing. But yeah, just little bits and pieces. Like, there's no one specifically except Tim Robinson. Yeah. Besides him, there's no one really specific.
That's dope.
So just kind of like alt comedy. Like,
exactly. There's like different kinds of comedy too. I think is the best.
Yeah.
Like different people will have bangers no matter what. Like people I don't usually like. I'm trying to think, it's not like a comedian I wouldn't usually like. Gabriel Iglesias.
Yeah.
Sure. Like I'm not a huge fan of him, but he'll have a joke around and I'll be like, oh my god, it's amazing. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta take bits and pieces to be like the best.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm not saying that steal jokes.
No.
It's
inspired.
Obviously not.
Things you were relate to.
Yeah, you stole your joke from Fluffy Iglesias. That's why.
I don't think he really minds, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fair. There's a ton of Fluffy Iglesias fans that are just hounding me every day.
In the comments,
We've
man.
seen this before.
Thief. Next big scandal.
Yeah.
Man, that could take you next level. All right, David Dobrik was one thing.
Wow.
Gabriel Iglesias, that's like
That would be
peak stardom right there.
I'm gonna say here first. I've always wanted to have, like, if I ever do make it on the come up, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to do it alongside somebody else. So that way, like, towards, like, if things start to slow down, I synthesize a beat.
Yeah.
Fake beat,
Yeah.
right? And then we do, like, the whole, we beef for 6 months. We plan it out, right? We really beef. And, like, every time we see each other in public, it's crazy, right? We do the whole Logan Paul KSI.
Boxing, right?
Make $1 million in a fight.
Like, we get the $1 million, we're secure the bag, but this is the part that gets crazy. This is the law found out about this. Like it's illegal for betting or something.
Right.
We rig it so in the ring, when we go to punch, we can't do it. We become friends again.
Yes.
International news. World saved.
Yeah, nobody would bet on that. What's the probability of the two contestants hugging afterwards?
Yeah, I would bet on that.
Yeah.
I would bet on that.
It's like, does that count as a tie? Like, would that be the
after the hug's done? I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just grab him and throw him down.
Fight.
Yeah.
I want people to know that the message still stands.
It's like hug until the cameras turn off, and then
then we're gonna see it.
Yeah.
You know, but that's a big.
Honestly, that's a solid plan.
That's not. Yeah.
The first time I've ever said it out loud too. So
Oh well, we're on
if
it.
people refer back to this moment, they're gonna know that this was a planned event.
Yeah.
Oh.
Premeditated.
Might take away from the event. To be honest.
Honestly, only the OG fans will know about it, and they deserve to know.
That's what I'm saying.
That's okay.
They deserve to know.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves to know. It's the people who started right now listening to what I'm
100%.
saying. Just like
Honestly,
Alpha.
all right. If you could choose the person that you gained stardom with, who would it be?
Boys in this room, man.
Oh,
let's fight.
I'm tearing up right now. Sure. Let's go. Honestly, it could be like a 3-way like battle royale type thing in the ring. It could be. You could do like the WWE sort of flip over each
I was
other.
thinking like underwater chicken fights, but over water.
Oh, yeah. We just do like piggyback rides.
Over water.
And then
up in the air. How do you say underwater? What's just like in
Just
the world?
on ground.
On ground.
On ground.
In water. Yeah, that sounds about right. On ground.
Over water.
Over
Yeah.
water.
Just
While we're
Jesus
walking
Christ,
on
the
water.
thinking of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Just walking on water. Honestly, that would be a pretty cool fight.
That'd be
That would
That would
be
be
very cool.
a sick fight.
The first time I did
Yeah,
pay-per-view.
just some dudes throwing their like chocolate. It's just like just sandals flying.
We'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
But like I said before, it's the boys in this room.
Yeah.
That's what the fight's gonna be. With. Stay tuned. Get the betting numbers up.
Right.
Yeah, and we're totally not gonna hug afterwards.
Yeah.
This is a real fight. So
To the death.
Make sure you bet against them hugging in the ring.
Yeah.
If anything, we're not hugging in the ring.
We're not hugging in the ring.
See, the more we say it, feel like the more money we can make if we do.
I think you're right.
We're not hugging in the rain. One more time.
Yeah, that's a big thing I'm thinking about too. Just kind of like,
well,
I guess what keeps you going too, you have these little fantasies in your head too.
For sure.
To keep you motivated to do something. Like when you're in bed, you're like, you know what? If I'm in bed right now, I can't work towards this.
Yeah.
Just 20 more minutes of sleep, and then I'm getting up.
Yeah.
All right, it is 1 a.m. Damn. All right, I guess we're grinding.
Yeah, little fantasies keep you going.
No,
yeah,
that's
for sure.
Absolutely.
How would you want to come up? Like, how would you want to enter like a larger sphere?
You know, I will say this. There's one man who has done it in a way that I think like a lot of people should emulate, and it's like Donald Glover, like Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
He has had so many different trajectories. Like, he hasn't had one thing, hasn't necessarily influenced the next thing. He just does them individually and then rises on his own.
It does them really well.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted the same sort of thing, which like I want to do things individually and not let them influence each other. But Jamie Foxx did it really good too. Like Jamie Foxx is a comedian and actor, and like
that's true.
Musician,
yeah.
So I guess like that kind of thing, where it's like you do other things, you don't let them necessarily cross over. Like someone where like I'm trying to think of an example of someone.
Tyler the Creator struggles with that a lot. Yeah. Where he's like, he doesn't like being put in a box, and he's constantly like, I want to be designing clothes, making music, and making videos with my friends. Yeah. And I don't want you to think that I'm just a rapper or I'm just this.
The problem that I'm understanding about the rap is kind of like they'll dip their toe in a new pool and be like, okay, I want to do this as well. But you got to go all in. You got whatever you're doing on the side. You got to leave it behind for like a year, right? You got to say like that's like when I've watched like Donald Glover at least like. Or Donald Glover, I keep thinking Childish Gambino.
You got that right.
And like he'll put the other thing, like comedy aside for like a year and be like 6 months, be like, okay, I'm only doing this for 6 months. Okay, now I'm done doing these for 6 months. I'm going right back to those 6 months. And I think with a lot of people, they're just like, all right, I'm gonna dip my toe in all these things. We'll see how it goes. Even right now, I can't do TikTok at all because I'm doing with the campaign. Like, there's no. It's
pretty time consuming.
It's a lot, really time consuming.
Yeah.
I'll post a video every now and then, but it's honestly the ones that I posted lately are like. I have no time to write, so they're trash. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's fair.
But it is what it is.
That's cool. So, I mean, Donald Glover started his like career in sort of like comedy writing and stand up, which you sort of did. Yeah. But I mean, like, then he started making movies, like you kind of did. Yeah. Are you trying to like mirror his life?
I will say this. Donald Glover started, people don't know this, he started with sketch comedy.
Yeah. He was writing for comedy. 80s Rock, was it?
30 Rock, but he was doing,
like YouTube sketch comedy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And he do things like that. And like, a lot of his stuff was just really good. I used to watch it as a kid, and then I saw him on the show Community.
One of my favorite shows of all time.
I listened to like his album, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? In fact, I don't love a ton of his music. It's true, but there's some of it I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. Yeah. You see how much time is spent going into this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, he's definitely a dude that like for sure.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm infinitely more talented than I could ever be. But
all of us combined in this room wouldn't put a candle to this guy.
He's like a genius.
Still like probably 35 or something.
Yeah. Have you seen this show, Atlanta?
Oh, it's amazing.
So good.
But I will say this. The one thing I'll say about him, I found this out the other day, and now I like him less. He was an RA.
Like a residence assistant?
He was an RA, man. Were you guys, just to make sure.
No.
I have so much.
You know what?
Maybe you should be fighting them.
Let's just go to the residence next door and just start scrapping.
And I don't want to offend RA. I understand. Like, I would do it. Like, free room. You get some food. It's amazing. But personally, the experience I've had with a lot of RAs, I've met some nice ones, don't get me wrong. It's just, listen, if I come home, it's 5 a.m., I want to take a shower, what are you doing banging on the door? I'm not falling asleep in the shower. It happened one time. I'm not going to fall asleep in the shower.
Leave me alone.
That's not a specific incident, clearly. It's just, no.
It's not like that happened.
Why are you stereotyping me just because I did this one time?
Because I did it one time. But, you know, it just... Now I feel like me and Donald Glover. I feel like he's the one banging on the door.
Oh, that's surprising considering his character, especially as he didn't seem like the most adult when he was like in his younger sketches. He's a big goof, right?
There's two ways I like to think about it. One, he was doing it, he was like, you know what, I'm gonna put myself through school. It's a nice free room and board. That's
True.
One way, that's a reasonable way to think. That's why I did it. The other part of me's thinking, no, this guy did it because he wanted to get on people like me who were just trying to have a good time and not by the RAs, and he couldn't handle it. Donald couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle the fact that I'm in the shower, man.
So you could say that people like you won. So you're more talented at, you won that battle against the RAs and therefore Donald Glover.
I'm just saying, if an RA at any moment wants to smoke, I met some huge RAs. Some really big RAs. No, take it back. And if there's, I feel like there's gonna be one RA. It's like, what the fuck?
I voted for you, man.
I voted for you. You did. I feel bad. I wanted to chill.
Yeah. Sometimes. If you're listening to this, you're one of the good RAs.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Otherwise, if you never hear this show,
there's some great RAs. There's some great RAs. There are some excellent RAs, but
maybe Donald Glover was a good RA.
Maybe he was a great RA. Maybe there's a really great RAs,
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cactuses you pick up that won't sting you either. But
True.
The majority of them, I'm digging a hole with these RAs.
Yeah.
The RA vote is a big deciding factor this election.
There's millions of RAs.
That's crazy.
The backbone of this city.
All right, let's go back.
Yeah.
Enough about the RAs.
Back to Donald Glover.
So in March, you start making TikToks. And then did you start with the milk one? The milk challenge
one? I
one?
had a couple more before then, but they were just you'll see a couple more I have on my page before then, but I probably had 20 before that were literally just targeted to specific ones of my friends. It was look at this joke that I make. It's stupid. It's like a diarrhea joke. I still make diarrhea jokes. They're worse, right?
You're never too old.
Yeah. And it's that's why I have had a ton of videos taken down before the milk thing. So now I have to tread really lightly because all my strikes are gone.
Really?
Yeah, they're gone.
Wait, you got videos taken down for making diarrhea jokes?
Oh, before because I ed peanut butter. It was a big thing. I understand. They were all originally when they were taken down. I wasn't what the hell? It was
that makes sense. It's unfortunate, but I'm glad someone out there protecting the society from peanut butter.
TikTok has RAs too.
The Donald Glovers of TikTok.
That's what it is. But I mean.
There's too many analogies in that.
I woke up. It was literally the weirdest thing. The moment it literally did change my life.
The milk video.
The milk video did literally change my
100%.
life. If I ever write a book, it's gonna be called "I Came, I Saw, I ran a mile with a glass of milk."
Yeah, that's only if that's poetic. This is one of the things that you're laying in bed.
Something happened.
Yeah,
it's easy to say now. We'll figure it out, but
that's unreal.
I literally woke up one morning. I remember I woke up, opened my eyes, and I'm like, man, let's just make a milk video. Literally that. There was no precursor. I didn't have the idea before at all. I know I didn't like TikTok challenges at all, and I was like, I kind of want a little poke fun, a little bit of the whole trend of doing challenges. But I woke up, I poured a glass of milk. I used to go on drives during quarantine. I never got out of the car because you could only drive around. So I just drive around all day. Before I go for my drive, to do this little thing, I didn't know how to set up the pre-record thing, so you could press it and record you. So my mom was holding the record button the whole time. That's why it falls at the end. I had to do that, and 4 hours later, it exploded.
4 hours.
It was
that's nothing.
The first 4 hours, nothing really happened, and then out of nowhere, I was like, "Whoa, what? What's happening now?" I'm like, "Oh my god, what's happening now?" Shit just kept piling up, and then a bunch of big names started taking notice, right, and everything. David Dobrik's duetted it. He duetted it, and then he didn't follow me for 3 months later. So
what was that
then
like?
He did follow you. So it's more of a relationship.
Yeah, now it's more I'll text him now, which is cool.
Oh, really?
But not still he's intimidating crazy.
Mm-hmm,
He's a nice guy, but it's one of those things where he knows and I know that he's listen, you wouldn't be doing anything if I had to do it video.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's hey, fair.
Still hanging over your head. Yeah.
Still hanging over my head. I do owe him my left nut.
Not the right one. You save that for the battle.
The right one's very small.
He doesn't want it.
He doesn't want that one. But so never know. But it's one of those things where, by the way, nice guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've heard he's really nice.
Yeah, so that's the thing started, and then all these comedy sketches, and then it was like a weird thing, and it really kept me sane during the whole quarantine thing.
Yeah. What was the timeline of those events? Like, well, within the first 4 hours, like, what had to have happened for that to blow up?
So essentially, with TikTok, the reason why TikTok's even like is probably not going to be shut down anytime soon is because the algorithm's so unique in what it does, right? Like, so essentially, if you make it, anybody can have a video that blows up. Like, for example, the guys doing like the fucking cranberry juice.
Yeah.
Or, like that can blow up. And
Dog face.
All across everyone's like hugely famous now.
Yeah.
Because TikTok will start, it'll put you in a pool of 100 people first, 100 random people. And then depending on how long those first 100 people watch it or how they interact with it, they comment, they like it, it goes, okay, it did well in this pool. Let's move it to 1,000 people. And then it moves to 1,000 people, and it's like, okay, it did well in this. Let's move it to 10,000. Let's move it to 100,000. Let's move it to 1 million people. So they keep putting you in little pools. They get bigger and bigger and bigger until you have a viral video, essentially.
That's crazy. That's really interesting.
One of the only apps that does that, like YouTube, for example, like obviously you get recommended videos, but only if they're getting big enough as it is. Like you need to be big to start on YouTube, or at least send it out to enough people organically. Whereas TikTok, it's like, boom, it just happens.
That's really interesting. So then, when did it start to like cross the 1 million threshold, or?
When I went to bed, it had like 800,000.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like, at that moment, I was like, oh my god, this is crazy, like 800,000. Now it's like 800,000. Like, nice, you know. But at the time, it was 800,000. I was like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah. I'd be kind of freaking out at that point.
All my buddies, I was like, yeah, man, look at this video.
Well, like, how did you fall asleep at that point?
I was like, oh man, if I wake up, it's got 1 million. I woke up and had like 995.
No, went back to bed.
Yeah, I went back to bed, and then
it's like Christmas morning.
He duetted it the next day, and I was like, no way. And then everybody started duetting it. It's like, I think 10,000 people only duetted it. They did the whole run a mile, the glass of milk in your hand challenge. I was like, this is like the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's not even a challenge. It's a joke on a challenge.
So much that people actually did it, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't even do it. Like, I ran up the hill and came back down. So it's like seeing people run an entire mile with glass of milk was just so hilarious. Like, there is wholesome shit on the internet too, right?
Yeah.
Like, not everyone's out there to be angry. So like, I'm fortunate enough that my side of the internet that I'm on and I make shit on is people just like vibing out, having a good time.
Right. That's awesome.
A lot of people were like getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like they see a lot of negative stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, thankfully I've stayed away from that.
Well, it's like there's all this like certain like group TikToks. It's like Harry Potter TikTok, and you end up in like the moment when you like a certain amount of things in the same genre, they put you in like a pool with all the same content. I mean, if you just sort of like feed into a certain negative content, that's all you get.
That's why I don't watch any politics on any social media stuff. Like most of the politics information I get is like either from person to person. Like honestly, I will do Reddit a lot too, even though Reddit can be pretty biased too.
Yeah.
But like if TikTok especially, like all these platforms, they want to keep you on as long as possible, right? So if they notice I'm watching more Republican stuff or more Democratic stuff, they're like, all right, I know he's gonna like this information more. I'm gonna keep showing it to them. But I guess because the algorithm doesn't understand that you can't be doing that. Because if I'm super far right wing and I see information, I keep liking the same stuff, they're going to keep saturating my opinion, keep making more and more. Little bubble. So I get deeper and deeper into this connection of never seeing anything on the left, right? Like I'm never seeing anything on this side. Same with the left side. I'm never seeing anything on the right. So that's why you get all these like big opinionated people with guns coming out of march, because they, in their minds, they're thinking, how can people not understand what's really going on in the world?
Yeah.
In our minds, like, what do you think is happening right now? But I mean, so like, I have some sympathy for the people who are like, who think that the world is a certain way right now because it's all they're seeing. So in their minds, everything they're doing is completely rational. But it's just, that's the problem with social media right now. Like,
yeah.
So if you keep watching politics, it'll really fuck you up.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you start TikTok. It blows up. You're having a good time. Quarantine's a lot better. At what point do you like, hey, you know what? I'm going to run for mayor?
Well, I was actually like probably a month and a half into my quarantine. My mom, we were talking about like municipal elections. You can run for mayor if you want. I was like, I could. And then I stopped thinking about it for months and months, right? Like, just like that one little moment. But then I was looking at the situation in the States. Like I heard Chris Paul, the basketball player, he's like, I'm getting my team to vote. Like we have to show how important voting is. I was like, no, voting is important. Look up what Halifax's voting numbers are. So look at Halifax's voting numbers, and I realized that, oh my god, like less than let like 26% of people voted.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And how many of those people were like young people? And I'm like, oh my God, it's even lower. Like, why does nobody care? And I'm like, you know what? I see a lot of people, because at the time, like, I mean, like, I do have a larger platform. It's not like crazy big, but it's like larger. And I see a lot of people at the same level. They go and say, like, go vote, nothing ever happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if Leonardo DiCaprio says go vote, yeah, a lot of people will listen, but not enough a lot of the time, right? So I'm like, okay, what can I do to make people care? It's like, okay, what if I run? Maybe people will say, I don't want him to win. I'm going to vote against him. And other people will be like, I do want him to win. I'm definitely going to vote because I've never seen anything like it.
Until they get registered.
So exactly. So they get registered. So I want sides of people who are like, I want change right now. I'll vote for him. And the other side, I want, which came way faster than I thought. People were messaging me like crazy, like, fuck you. Right. I'm like, take it easy.
How quickly did it take?
Oh, it was fast. Like, there was one thing, and I will say this specifically. I'm not going to say whose name it was. It's a friend, someone I knew growing up. Like, a lot of people I knew growing up turned on me so quick.
Oh my
Why?
God.
I don't understand why. I'd been running for less than 48 hours at this point, literally less. I didn't even announce it. Like, the media picked it up.
Yeah.
And I've never, by the way, in the media, I've never said anything myself about TikTok once. Like,
Yeah.
I've never said anything once about it. But, so this girl that I know, she posts all over Instagram her story, less than 48 hours, like probably like 30 hours at this point, about how, like, I'm a narcissist, like, don't vote for this man, he's, like, evil, like, roasting me. And then she has, like, a list of questions she's asked you. She's like, it's not going unnoticed that he hasn't made a statement about the BLM movement. And I'm like, listen, it's been 30 hours. Number one, yes, it has. And number two, obviously, look at everything else I've said. Like, look me up. Of course I support it. Like,
Yeah.
I've said before I support it. You just haven't looked up my name once. Like, you're going to social media and attacking me without even reaching out to me. Because I literally asked.
That takes a lot of effort too.
It takes a lot. And the worst part is now that I'm coming out with all these stances and platforms, right? Like, I've said all these things that I know they agree with, right? Like, obviously I support the murals I go on. Like, I'm very, like, in general, like, if it's not hurting anybody and you want to help people at the end of the day, it's like, why would anybody be against that? Like, I'm pretty,
Right.
in my opinion, it's always like, all right, let's do it for the people, whatever. Because I'm a young guy. Like, we all generally have the same opinions.
Yeah.
But now that I put these things out, where are they? You know, where are the people that were saying they're really negative the whole time? It's like, now you're not coming to, I've answered all your questions that you attacked me with at the beginning. I've
Right.
answered everything. Where are you? Like, why aren't you saying anything?
Yeah.
You know, that's the one thing that bugs me. It's like, you couldn't reach out after all that. Like, after slandering me, you couldn't reach out and be like, you know what? I saw what you said about this and that. Because I know they're watching, because I can see, like, the statistics. But yet, it's nothing there. So now I'm starting to understand that people don't want, like, they like to be angry at something. And that's a big, terrible thing in politics, especially. Like, why? You just chill, you know? Just like, obviously, it's great to be angry about an issue, but don't be angry at a dude for talking about the issue.
Yeah.
Angry at a guy who hasn't yet made a statement, even though he's about to, because he's been less than 30 hours running.
Yeah.
But just in general, you see a lot more people doing this right now. There's a lot of negativity. Right?
Yeah.
I totally understand. It's which is kind of one of the reasons why we had this podcast. It was the idea of, like, people don't like having conversations. It's a lot easier to just spew hate and to make a point and then run away.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy when it's especially online, man.
Yeah.
So we're trying to have more conversations. We're trying to talk. You know, it's a lot harder to have those conversations, but it is crucial for us to move as a society if we have these conversations.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
So, I mean, the fact that you're going out there and you're bringing those conversations up is already like a step up from everyone just cowering from those conversations.
Yeah, I think
right?
it's a good thing too. You know, I mean, like, let's be real. Like, even though it's a negative thing that she would like attack like that, to be fair, it made me address this situation quicker.
That's a good point.
Say, you know what, I need to come out and make sure people know that I do have a stance on these things. Like, yes, obviously, I'm on the same page as you guys about these things. Like, yes, obviously, I support these things, and it made me say it sooner. So to her testament, absolutely, we have the same goal, but we went at it in drastically different ways.
Right.
And that was like the one problem, I'll say. But to be fair, like, it did make me come out and say them faster. Like, I was going to say it regardless, but it makes you really put it out in the world. So that's why it's kind of like in politics, you need to read the negativity. Like, in TikTok, you don't need to.
No.
But in politics, you kind of need to, because people will have, like, things that you need to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, they might not always frame it in the best way, but it's, like, really important you do read it.
Yeah, leadership is tough when you know you're doing it right when isn't a lot of people talking.
Yeah.
It's like silence is your reward.
Yeah.
Which is the weirdest thing.
That's such I haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
And it's if everyone's mad, then you know something's wrong.
Yeah.
So that's like, okay, if I do this thing, there's a lot of backlash. Let's try and like do this. But if everyone's quiet, then you're doing a fantastic job.
Strange thing?
Yeah.
It sucks.
It's easy to say you're a dick, but it's really hard to be like, you know what? You're all right.
I was a dick.
You know? I was the dick.
Yeah.
Why do people say that? You know?
Yeah.
But,
I wish I knew, man. That's a hard question to answer.
That's a world problem. People can't come out and be like, you know what? I was the dick.
I think there's a lot of his ego, right?
I've been the dick a lot of the time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100% been the dick.
Yeah.
But I think you gotta learn to admit it, and that took a long time for me to learn how to admit it, for sure. Right? Like his ego, like you're saying, is a huge thing, but it's you need to be able to. You gotta say, I'm the dick.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah.
You know, that's crazy. So 30 hours in, you're feeling the backlash, but you must have felt a lot of like reward as well, right? Like,
I mean, there was honestly the reward. Mostly people our age were the people that were negative at first. Right?
Oh, really?
It's a strange thing.
Yeah.
But as it goes on, like the more I'm really starting to reach out and talk to groups and stuff, like people start to understand, like, okay, even if I don't win right now, like I probably have 4 years worth of a poli-sci degree in municipal politics, in like a month, right? Like, I know everything about. I've talked to every group. Like I've reached out to LGBT groups, LGBT plus 2. I keep getting that wrong.
Yeah.
LGBTQ2S?
I think
2S, yeah.
2S, yeah. Sorry, I almost fucked that up, my bad.
No stress.
But it's I've reached out to like BLM groups. I've reached out to like accessibility groups, like trying to find the best way to say things without coming across in the wrong way. And I think like that's made me as a person, whether or not I win or lose, like pro naturally. Like, that helps. Like you need to reach out and talk to people. And I think politics aside, more people should do it. So it really changed my perspective on like a ton of things.
Yeah.
That was a huge.
I can imagine.
Did it kind of shape some of your platforms or the things that you support?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even when affordable housing, there was always about affordable housing at first, and now it's like affordable and accessible housing. I was talking to a lot of people there, and even transit systems. I was talking about, okay, we need to make sure we have better transit for students, and now I'm realizing, okay, there's a lot of handicapped people who, like, for example, like we invested millions of dollars into like accessible buses, right, like for handicapped people. But if you're a dude in a wheelchair and you want to go to your friend's house for dinner that night, too bad. You have to book an accessible bus 7 days in advance. And it's like, what? Why do we spend millions of dollars if you have to book a bus 7 days in advance? Like, there's way better solutions to do this, but we just don't look into them. Like the city doesn't care, you know.
That's tough.
Is there, just from communicating with different groups, is there any like problem that you think exists that the other mayoral candidates are overlooking?
I think the big problem is a lot of the times they're not taking in both sides of the argument for whatever reason. I mean, sometimes because it makes them look good, sometimes because it puts more money in their pocket. It's both sides of the coin, but like, even I found I was doing that too. Like, I was always talking about affordable housing attacking developers. And then a lot of my friends, like parents are developers, they're very wealthy. And then one of them reached out to me. I started talking to him, like, you know what? Like, I'm realizing now it's the province makes it very hard sometimes for affordable housing to be built. So it's not always the onus can't always be on the developers. So I have to go back and retract a lot of things I've said negative about them, right? So like, I think the big thing that they're not doing is reaching out to both sides every single time, right?
That's tough.
Consensus to try and bridge a gap, because like if you're Mayor Savage, you can bridge a gap. You can put two people in the same room together. For me, it's really hard for me to reach out and be like, hey, let's go talk to each other, right? Sure, I have no authority.
Legitimacy.
Yeah, exactly. I have no legitimacy, but I think he should be doing that a little bit more. That's the big thing. And also, like, I'm pretty easy to reach, which is a good thing too. Like, Matt Wood's pretty easy to reach too, but with Savage especially, it's kind of like you have to go through a lot of channels to get to him.
Yeah, well, he's been in politics for so long.
Exactly. He's, to be fair, he's a really busy guy. Absolutely. Yeah. But I think what benefit, it's easy for me to say, is like, I'm like the easiest dude to reach. Like, it might take me 2 days to reply, but I'll get back.
Honestly, I was impressed. I was like, oh, sick. A DM worked.
Yeah.
I was going to send an email if it didn't. I was like, I wasn't sure how best to reach you, but I was glad it worked how it did.
My campaign manager, Emma, I love her at that. She's a great woman, but just sometimes she just is bad at responding. Like, what are you doing? Like, especially your phone. Like, you'll call her 80 times in a row. And her phone's like a U.S. Tennessee number because like it's cheaper. She went to
that's smart. I didn't know that.
But it does seem smart until you realize it doesn't work. Like, your phone just doesn't work. It's on all my campaign lists. And I get a ton of like DMs every day being like, hey, we tried to call. And I'm like, yeah, I tried to call too. But yeah, I think that's the big thing, especially for them. It's like you need to be more personable.
Yeah. You talk a lot about your team. And like in interviews we watch, you're very proud of your team. Yeah. You put a lot of confidence if you were to win on the fact that you have a good team to back you up.
Yeah.
How'd you put that team together?
Well, I think it's just like my mom, my ex-girlfriend. It's like a real ragtag.
The underdogs.
Yeah, we got a lot of people. We had a great man. I don't know if he wants me to say his name a lot because I know he's other Phillies, but he's helped. He jumped on board too. We met him through some people. And I've just had some friends really helping out, like my friend who goes to Dow, Noah Davis.
Oh, dope.
He does a lot of my Facebook management stuff. So it's like just randomly things happen to come together. It's not and like people are volunteering their own time to help out, right? And the big thing is if I were to be elected, I mean, I can't necessarily say all these people would be on staffing, but like I've made enough connections along the way that I know that there's certain people I definitely want to get involved with, right? And like I know who would be good at certain things. So I think that's important if you understand. And also, like, I don't really have any friends in this business, so like, you know, like no one can really fuck me around because it's like I have no ties. Like, well, what do I care? You know, like if I want to hire someone because they do a good job, as opposed to someone who's making $200,000 for the past 10 years, it's like, well, if whoever's doing the best job is so high. Like I don't have any friends.
Sure.
You know, so.
There's definitely an argument to be made that lifetime politicians sort of have a lot holding them back, where it's like you have like, oh, this is my friend, I gotta help him out with that, or I have this guy helped me with this back in the day, I gotta help him out with that. While you're sort of liberated, you can do things and talk to people and make connections that most lifetime politicians, almost all, I would say,
exactly. Like, I'm
could
really
make.
lucky in that regard. Like, a lot of people don't have that benefit. So like in that regard, I'm super lucky that I don't really have to have any ties like that. I mean, there's some people like naturally, like if you scratch your like quid pro quo. You know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Sort of so, 100%.
The
big things that you probably.
How was the campaign? Like, what was that experience like?
It was crazy. It was crazy. I didn't spend a ton of money, but like that's why the donations. I got a couple bit of donations. Like, it wasn't crazy or anything, but mostly delivering a lot of T-shirts. I definitely missed some people I would deliver T-shirts to again because like it was so at first like shit got so disorganized that they bring it back because it's really like 4 of us running. Like a lot of campaigns. 100 people going. People playing, So it was like it's definitely been crazy, man. Like printing stuff, you know. I've been lucky. Like my buddy made the logo. Like that's huge. I just got super lucky, man. Like, the whole time with the campaign relatively going smoothly, but for the first, I'd say 2 weeks, there's probably an hour every single day where I was like, why would I do this? For the first like 2 weeks, definitely like an hour every single day. And then it goes away. Yeah,
you just have the moment where you just go, you absorb everything, you process it, and you keep going.
The negativity. In fact, at first, I was in so in my own headspace. I didn't know what to do because I'm getting so much negativity at a wide scale. First of all, how are people against voting?
That was literally all you said. Is like, hey guys, go ahead and vote. Don't vote for me.
Just how is anybody against voting? It's one thing. It's like that's universal. Everybody should vote anyway. That was always one of those things. I was like, so what's the problem here? At first, I was getting in my own head, so I texted David Dobrik. Like, how do I deal with the widespread negativity? I was like reaching out to a ton of people. I didn't expect him to reply. He sent me this long voice memo back. It was like 4 minutes. It was like detailed, like how to deal with it. And I was like, dang.
That's huge.
Thank you. And since that moment, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like this can be okay. So
really?
Once again, and he knows too.
That's just another thing that he has over you.
Another thing he has.
I mean, at least you're only like, you know, tie political like affiliation. He's influencer in LA, so it's not really affecting Halifax politics. You're good. You're in the clear.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things where, and not just him. Like I reached out to other people, like this guy named Colton in Halifax too.
Colton Henderhan?
No, Colton. Oh my god.
He does like good. TikTok guy. There's another. He does like.
Wow, I'm an asshole for not knowing his last name. I can't believe I don't know his last name. Colty on TikTok is his name.
All right.
So if Colton listens to this, I'm sorry, but I don't know his last name. Right now. But I reached out to him too, and he was saying the same thing, like because he's got a lot of widespread negativity too. He's got like millions and millions of people watching him.
What was that advice?
And
to share with the people.
Yeah, and he was saying like, you know, listen, Colty especially was like, people, no matter what you do, there's gonna be someone who doesn't like you. And at the end of the day, you gotta be satisfied with what you're doing. If you don't like what you're doing, that's a problem. But if they don't like what you're doing, who gives a shit, you know? People are always going to be mad at what you do. People will always expect more no matter what. Like, you can save 1 million orphans from a fire, and then people will be on Twitter the next day saying, why didn't you save 2? Yeah. They don't know there wasn't 2 million there. They, you know, like, people don't see the other side of the picture. They'll always hate you no matter what you do. So just kind of take it with a grain of salt. Take the punches and get back up.
Keep rolling.
Yeah, it looks good if you take the punches. Like, it's hard. Although it is fucking hard to take the punches.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Imagine.
It's a good thing to, I think now at this age too, learning how to do it properly, hopefully it benefits me later on.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Was that similar to, sorry,
go ahead.
Was that similar to David Dobrik's advice?
Yeah, actually, he's the one who said the orphan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said the orphan example. Cole was really like nailing in the fact that, like, you know, because me and Cole are like both the same age, like, we were similar situations, we were similar friends and everything. He used to let me know, like, him and David had very similar advice too. It's like, you know, you don't like someone for a while, and then like you have to ask yourself. David was more like, if you don't like someone for a while, like he's giving examples of people like he doesn't like for a while. It's like then he meets them in person. It's like, why didn't I like this person? You know, it's like you think of situations of your life where you're like, I always used to hate this guy, and then I met them in person. It's like, why would I ever hate them? What reason did I have for doing it?
Yeah.
So then he was like, you know, so sometimes you have to reach out to people if you don't like them and find that out. And a lot of the reason you get hate is because they don't take the time to reach out to you. So just take it with a grain of salt. And if someone really, really bothers you, reach out and be like, what's up? What's going on? You know, not in a confrontation way, but what can I do better?
Yeah.
Although I've tried that and like
sometimes it just doesn't work.
Sometimes they just ghost.
No.
So why you ghosting?
Well, they don't expect you to text back because it's not something people do very often, unfortunately. Yeah.
You know, you think they'd be like ready to tell me what's wrong.
Yeah.
You know? And I'll take it. Like, I'm not a confrontational guy. Like, I'll be like, you know what? That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
I am the worst.
I'll go back in my hole. Okay, got it.
But, yeah, people just don't like. So honestly, those two dudes' advice was like huge. They both of them.
That's
like,
crazy.
Shout out Colty and Dave, man. Those are the greatest dudes to get advice from. Yeah.
I'll hit them up next time I need some advice. I'm sure he'd answer my DMs, especially David Dobrik.
You gotta mention, you gotta get Colty on the show too, man.
Oh, absolutely.
He's in Halifax right now, I think.
No way.
And he has stories for days.
Oh man, I bet.
He's some huge, because he's big, man.
Yeah.
And, like, he's like next level.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like he's got a crazy.
He's not running for mayor. He's running for premier.
Wow.
If you want to be premier like that, you know,
that would be dope. That would be unreal, actually.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So your campaign's kicking it. You're feeling a lot of like anxiety and stress, but you work through it. And this is like 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
Out of how long have you been campaigning for?
Probably around almost 6 weeks now, I think.
6 weeks.
Almost 6 weeks, maybe. And like now I'm definitely learning to enjoy Little Mamas a lot more.
Yeah.
Now I'm definitely enjoying it way more. I'm having a good time now, you know, seeing the numbers go up. I'm like, you know what? It all ends on Saturday.
How you feeling? Like you're almost in the clear. You've done a spectacular job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I achieved the goal that I set out to get more voters.
At least 18,000 on the first day?
Yeah, and well, actually, it was last election, I think 92,000 people voted, and already today it was up to 105 or 106.
No way.
Oh, nice.
And there's still 3 more days left?
3 more days left, and in person hasn't even happened.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I've already achieved the goal. I'm already satisfied with that. So anything else that could happen now is a bonus. Like, think about this way, like, even before I got the numbers up, during my municipal debate, like, I know a bunch of dudes in like in university that I know were sending me snaps of them sitting around drinking beer, watching them.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's hilarious.
Since when has that ever happened?
Doesn't happen.
You know? So like that kind of shit. I was like, you know what? This whole experience is like a win. No matter what I do, it's like I sort of take it and say, you know what? I have fun. Even if I only get like 2% of the vote, I'm like, you know what? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I did it, you know?
And I mean, now maybe not hundreds, but thousands and thousands of Haligonians are registered to vote, and they know the process. They're comfortable with it. Exactly. Now they're more versed in like municipal government.
Exactly. I think now people start to understand, like, everyone gets so fired up with the federal government, but it's like I said in like a video once, it's like the federal government went away, you wouldn't notice for weeks. The municipal government went away, you notice immediately. You know, schools would close down, buses would stop. Like, this is the most immediate impact you have right now. this is the time to notice. Right?
It's crazy.
So this comes out before Friday.
Yeah.
When people are listening, get out there and fucking vote.
Yeah.
Now.
You got 1 day left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. Like, so weird if I'm saying fuck to you.
No.
But it's like on the campaign trail, you don't get an opportunity.
Yeah. Just let it out of your system.
So
you just got 3 more days.
So it's hard. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, CBC, I think I let it drop one straight interview. I was like, shit.
And then that was another one. Yeah.
I'm like, my God, I'm so sorry. You know? But this is like a refreshing thing to do.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward for it to be over? You must be pretty tired.
I'm definitely tired, but it's like I can't look at the finish line to see. Like I have to think, you know, I'm there. I'm not even thinking about what I'm gonna do afterwards. I'm not thinking about any of it. Like if I'm happy about it or sad about it. I just need to get it done. Have that day happen, right? Like that's the big thing. I think I'm thinking about. So like I can't say I'm looking forward to being over. I mean, it's definitely gonna be a huge deep exhale. But I don't even know how I'm gonna feel. Maybe I'll be sad. Maybe I'll cry.
I mean, there'll be tears of joy, tears of tears.
Tears of tears.
Tears of tears.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
If you were to win, what would your first week look like? What are the things that you want to get right to?
A lot of phone calls to people who are supporting me from the get go. Like it's the time being listen, thank you for keeping spirits high. It's I think the entire first week is be calling people. Thank you for doing it. Thank you. Thank you for being around, and then organizing the people, the staff that need to be in place. Those 2 things would happen the entire first week.
Wow.
In fact, if I got it, it would be the first month would probably be insane reorganization of what's going to happen in Halifax, which would be crazy to see from that thing.
You'd have to revolutionize your entire life. Everything would change.
Everything would change. I have to get my own place.
That's crazy.
I pledge I give up half my salary, so I got to get that in place.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Do that too. The other day too. On Reddit is where you get the most hate.
Really?
Someone mentioned, this is a side note. Someone commented about it's not fair for Max to give up half his salary, and say the other candidates should do something similar. They need that to feed their families. And I'm like, half of the salary is $100,000. If you can't feed your family, who by the way, both these men families are out of school. You can afford to feed your family at $100,000 a year. What are your expenses?
Yeah.
What are you buying?
Just caviar nonstop.
Which is a side note. But it'd be a crazy restructuring my entire life.
Yeah.
So,
are you? Would that? Is that something that you look forward to? If it was a possibility? Because that sounds kind of terrifying to me.
I think my big thing is to a testament. Sometimes it's I don't ever know what's gonna happen next, and it's kind of an exciting way to live in a sense because on one hand you can't prepare for anything, but on the other hand it's you know what, I'm ready to roll with it no matter what happens. It's fuck it, let's see what happens. I'm ready. So I can't say I've thought about it way too much. I've thought about what I'm gonna do to put things in place, but in terms of the way I feel, I hasn't even crossed my mind because I don't know.
Yeah.
And so half of your salary that is going to low income housing.
Absolutely. I was going to go into low-income communities, whether that be housing or because I was raised by a single mom too, so I wanted to go to single mother initiatives. That's a big thing I wanted to go back into because there's a lot of people just can't afford to put food on the table with the kids during COVID. So it's that's a big thing I want to get into, number one. But I think a lot of single parenthood stuff is what I'd like to get put it into, and different types of housing solutions that I can help with. I mean, unfortunately, so much is done for the provincial government that I can't do too much. But whatever I could do with the $100,000 is what I do with it.
Yeah.
That's still a substantial amount of money.
Yes, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It is a lot.
That's
of money.
a lot of money.
Man, I only need I don't even need that much. If I get a small little place, I don't eat crazy expensive. I like to go out to eat for sure.
Yeah.
But it's I don't fucking buy a lot of clothes. I've had the same clothes for years. So it's
I mean, most of my clothes are from Value Village. They've been doing really well for me.
I'm not buying I don't have a ton of expensive
clothes.
Yeah. We're getting
close. Yeah.
These cost me $50,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides
designer quality.
I get the designer squiddies. Besides that, I think it should be pretty good. But
That's
the $100,000 thing. When I dropped that first, I was you know what? Okay, because that came out. And I was that felt good to say.
Yeah.
Just stick with that.
Yeah.
That's good. It came from the gut.
It came from the gut. Sometimes I'll just say things and it comes out let's just stick with that. That's the new thing.
Yeah.
It felt good in the moment. I have to stick with it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's an admirable trait. It's tough to stick to it sometimes though, but
it is. It's been a huge problem in my life to stick with things. I think this year specifically, I've been reorganizing to stay with things.
Yeah.
Before this, I always get mad at my mom. Like, why didn't you leave me karate class? You know, like, why did you let me leave piano lessons so early?
Yeah.
Like, I'd be sort of piano karate master.
You could take over the world.
Yeah.
Bro, I'd be like sick. I'm like Bruce Lee on the keys.
Yeah.
Unreal.
That sounds like some sick 80s TV show. Just like a pianist, karate master.
Imagine, man?
It's like orchestra by day, like vigilante by night.
Well, this kind of
Something
sounds like
that.
a Kevin James sitcom plot. Like he needs to support his wife's piano industry and also fight off bad guys.
The criminal underworld. Yeah,
shaped my life.
Truly.
I genuinely think it did.
Is that why you avoid segues?
They get mad at the segue when you bring up Paul Blart.
Really?
It's a hush hush thing. In the segue.
Wow.
If you say the words Paul Blart, the eyes are just like they look at you and they squint. Like,
No way.
You can't do it. Like I made a TikTok to Paul Blart one thing with the segue, and it's like I could tell that they didn't want to talk to me for weeks after that.
You're on their shit
Like,
list.
like that because that movie almost single-handedly took down the segue.
Oh my god, I
can
can't even
see that, yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
It's not a flattering portrayal of the demographic that buys. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're still pretty cool.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, I personally wouldn't get one.
Oh, I would get one. And I'll tell you why I'd get one.
You get a Segway before you get a scooter?
No, I wouldn't. But I might.
Okay. Why would you get a Segway?
Because they're just so smooth sailing. It's just like
Safe.
you're like a man on the sea.
I can buy it.
But above water.
But above water.
Yeah. You're just Jesus Christing it.
You're Jesus Christ in it.
Yeah.
I feel like Jesus, as he's walking on water, I feel like he was segwaying. Like he's gliding along. Say he was sick. Like, have you ever been on a Segway?
A couple times.
They're dope.
Mm-hmm.
They're dope. Like, they're hard for me to balance on, for sure. Like, I don't have the coordination, but they're dope.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable, you know? And imagine Annie Green Gables, that would be worldwide, not just Japan, if she had a Segway.
Oh, she would make it cool again.
She'd make it so cool.
Anna Green Gables causing trouble on a Segway?
Just a
Dude,
beautiful image, man.
I would watch the hell out of that.
That's all I'm saying. So if anyone wants to take the idea, it's yours.
You know, it's on the web now.
It's yours.
Yeah, you know what? No, we won't sue you. Yeah,
Well,
go for it.
Probably not.
We'll just fight it out in the ring. It's fine. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Is that the only way that Paul Blart changed your life?
I definitely brought up some fetishes that I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just know I was into a lot of things.
Was it
Kevin James?
It's Kevin James fetish specifically.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense. But that's like it's like you start it and it's like you keep digging down into him and then all of a sudden just roots and layers of just fetishes on fetishes, man.
I say to the people I hook up with, I'm like, if you're not Kevin James, you're out.
Yeah.
You're out.
You just
And not even every time. You're like, okay, I'm out. Like,
yeah.
not Kevin.
What is going on?
Kevin James.
Yeah. So
I'm literally look nothing like Kevin James. What are you talking about?
First of all, I'm not Kevin James. Like, I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah.
Well,
I want you to be Kevin James.
Yeah. You're on Tinder. Just be like, if you're not Kevin James, swipe left.
One of these days, I will meet Kevin James.
You think so?
Absolutely.
You know what?
Absolutely.
Let's put that on the record. That the day you meet Kevin James, that's like your life peak.
I'm done.
Mm.
Yeah. Retire, man. What's the point?
James, I can just end it all.
Yeah.
You know,
Be like,
drive off the sunset, down with Louise.
Yeah. Just straight off the Atlantic Pier.
Sit up and say, you know what, I made it.
Yeah.
Segway.
Just float up like Armageddon. You're done.
Can you imagine if he listens to this and he's like, you know what? I feel the same. Actually,
That
I've had a
Emerson
fetish
guy.
of him at the same time.
Yeah.
Fetish of this dude.
It started off with the milk, but then I realized I didn't have the fetish for the milk. It was
He's the
Emerson.
man.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Man behind the milk. It's not a bad idea for a
That's
book title either.
Oh. You can take that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, well, we'll barely sue you.
Yeah. You won't even notice if you're hanging out with Kevin James.
How do we get to Paul Blart?
Good question.
I lost track.
I almost want to keep it there, but how are we doing with time?
Nearly an hour.
We and an
We're
hour.
at an hour now?
Okay. Yeah.
There's the time, right?
Unreal. Yeah, that's crazy. So this must have like revolutionized your whole experience of Halifax because you grew up here and you get like a lot of it.
Yeah, you definitely. I think too. Like even being in, I went to like private school, like Sacred Heart. So like I was only ever really exposed to like these really like a lot of my friends were like really super loaded. Like I've never been super loaded. Like, I was single and everything. Like always generally well off. I could afford things, but I was always like around really loaded dudes, like really rich dudes. They always had huge houses, mansions. And that was like normal to me. And then being like in politics right now, I'm starting to understand like, wow, there are people that can't afford to put food on the table. Like why don't people talk about this? Like, why aren't people paying more attention to this? Why are we allowing this to even happen? All these situations, regulations we have in place. So it really changed my perspective on how Halifax is run. Like, yeah, amazing city, like under Mayor Savage, people want to move here now. Like for the first time in a long time, young people want to be here. But yet it's the fastest growing rate of rent in North America.
Yeah.
So like it's crazy.
And minimum wage is like pretty low down here too.
Low. Like in Halifax, they say living wage would be $22, but minimum wage here is like 12.
12 over 5 or something like that. Just above 12.
Above 12, yeah. So like it's ridiculous what we're doing to people.
Yeah.
We can't afford to be here. So it's just I don't know, but it's becoming a huge problem that people start to have to dress themselves too. They can't keep expecting their government to address it. Clearly, it's not working.
How would that be best addressed? Like taxing or?
Well, in Halifax, we have these situations where we can't do taxing, or property taxes are the main way to make money, right? In a city, it's almost unprecedented to think that there are two ways of making the most money. I think, from my understanding at least, is like property tax and parking meters.
Really?
And it's like, wow, as a city, like we can't tax anything else. Like we can't really control any other sorts of tax. In certain ways we can, but like in general, we can't really control any other tax besides property tax. Like that's weird. Okay, well then I look at property tax and I realize, okay, wait a second. We passed bills in Halifax to separate property tax between residences and small and like commercial, and we never did that. So now if I want to raise property tax for a huge mansion, I'm raising it for a little shoe store on Spring Garden Road, right?
Oh, so man.
Like we separated these things, but we never put them in place. So even though people always complain that we don't have a lot of power because the province has most of it, number one, as people, we can go and say, demand every single day. We can message the province every single day to give us the power. Number two, we can demand that the city does things that they said they would do, like separate these types of taxes, right? Like separate these types of taxes and start to bring in new ways to make money for the city, right? But we don't do that. And that's the big problem. We haven't been trying to do it because we don't know about the issues. Now maybe people will start to understand it.
So scaling taxes between residential and corporate properties or like separating between low income corporate properties and high income corporate.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the way I see it is kind of like somebody just makes it like Costco would pay less tax than like might be a bit of an exaggeration, but like for like the tap room at Oxford, right? And it's like, wow, why can that happen? So we need new ways to tax these businesses. Like foot traffic is a huge thing. Like if people have to take their cars to get there, if people it's like really far away from the city, they should be taxed more as opposed to like if I can just leave my house and walk to the tap room. You know? So it should be one of those things where we have to regulate things in ways that make sense, in all ways it's been historically done. And I think we need to tax things based on the size of your property, not always where your property lands. That's a big thing too, right? Because if I live in a little house on fucking Spring Garden, tiny little house, they'll charge me as much tax. So I live in a mansion in like I don't know Bedford, right? So
yeah.
Your tax should be paid proportionally. But we just don't do it.
What are some other things like that just don't make any sense that you've noticed since you started campaigning?
Well, transit for sure is a big thing, right? Like we keep making the city so expensive. Sorry, I keep itching my nose.
Allergies, yeah, me too.
Yeah. Allergies, yeah. Haven't been really. But yeah, so it's like transit, especially. Like number one, we keep making it so expensive to live in the city, and yet we shut off bus routes to like places outside of the city. So we keep pushing people out and not giving them a way back to get back home. We want them to work in the city. Like, what's that all about? It doesn't make any sense. And not just that, like I said, with accessibility, like people in wheelchairs, they can't get out. Or like people, any sort of handicapped person can't get a bus for the life of them unless they book days and days and days in advance. It's like, wow, why is the city, why do we run like that? You know? So there's little things like that. And environmental solutions too. It's like, okay, we keep building affordable housing on different green spaces, say we need the space to do it. There's no other space to do it. And yeah, we have a building like St. Pat's in the North End, who's like this massive high school that we just sold to a random person for $50 million. why don't we do anything with that space? It's directly in North End. It's we can build some sort of affordable housing there. If we sold for $50 million, it's been sitting there for 7 years, using a bunch of green space to build other condominiums. Well, why haven't we done anything with that?
Yeah, the space on Agricola Street.
Yeah,
we used to live right across from it. It's the biggest. It makes no sense.
Yeah, a lot of these things don't make any sense at all.
So is that related to the housing plan that you cited in Colorado?
Yeah, exactly.
Or,
I mean, I don't want to do something a little bit different, but the way they do is kind of it's interesting. I want to look into it a little bit more because some people told me that there's other things that like they're doing that aren't necessarily great either.
Okay.
But in general, it's kind of like they repurpose places they don't use that much. Like a lot of empty buildings and Halifax that we have, we can somehow use a way to use the space to make affordable housing and homeless shelters. Like that's what Colorado does. They do it very well. It's a bit of a strange, complicated thing to organize, but yeah, I think copying of the city's model, so not being afraid to like generally take different ideas of places that have worked. Right now, we're just like we have to build our own organic ideas. It's like no, like,
don't reinvent the wheel.
Don't reinvent the wheel. If it's worked somewhere else, just do it. Just like take the idea and say let's do it. But we haven't. For some reason, we don't want to do that here. That's a big thing. I'm trying to figure out why.
Yeah. So affordable housing, like if you had to pick just a handful of issues that concerned you most, would it top the list affordable housing?
I would top the list affordable housing because like the basic right to shelter is like a huge thing.
Yeah.
People don't have a place to live. Like how are they gonna worry about everything else? You know, like people don't want to live on the streets. And then second thing is definitely accessibility, whether it be the transit system specifically is a big thing. And the third thing, I think every city is like environmental issues because we don't have like a ton of time. Like before we have to start looking at ways to reverse as opposed to ways to invent.
Yeah.
You know, so we gotta look at both those things. But in Halifax, like water levels are rising so fast everywhere. It's like, let's say you live on the water right now, you know, good luck in 10 years.
Yeah, it'll be an island.
Yeah, exactly. Nicolas Cage to buy us.
Awesome.
Yeah, okay.
I'm excited for that.
Now I'm not so worried.
They'll take care of us. Then you won't have to run for mayor. He'll be like Lord Overlord of the Halifax region. Yeah.
Canada
blurs the budget.
Just buy everything.
We're buying everything.
We're buying spaceships for everybody.
He'd find a way to make it.
Yeah.
You just 10 movies and be like, I got you.
It's like, oh,
who keeps putting him in the
it would take him like a month to do those 10 movies.
Man.
I think it's paid like 10 million. Who puts him in the movie? Who's the people who say, yeah, we need Nicolas Cage for this?
Yeah.
I actually like him.
Oh, me too, yeah.
I keep looking back to that
we're putting in movies.
It's that the Nick Cage episode of Community where Albert tries to figure out if Nick Cage is a genius or insane. That I keep going back to that. He's like neither. He's just like an anomaly. He just exists outside of the spectrum, man.
He's incredible.
Yeah. Just like Adaptation, and then
that was a really good movie.
Adaptation
is like even what's that movie? Saving? No, it's like the kid.
Oh, Raising Arizona. Yeah, those are the two probably.
Unbelievable movies.
Yeah, and then Ghost Rider. And
those were the good days.
Who's the first one to Ghost Ride the Whip? He's the first one to do it.
Man, most underrated Ghost Rider out there.
No,
I swear.
Top 10 Ghost Riders. He takes every spot.
Yeah. He's still underrated.
Still underrated. He deserves the 11th.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
It's like that. It's like, it's like enjoy greatness while it exists. Like LeBron's like, just enjoy it while it lasts. Like Leo Messi's like, just enjoy Nick Cage while he's alive.
It seems like it's been a long time. It feels like it's been a long time.
I feel like I've grown up with him.
I feel like watching his old movies, like watching even Ghost Rider Renaissance. It's like what's happening?
It's a snapshot of a different time.
It's so good, man. So wholesome. Mike's obviously talking about Ghost Rider.
No, he's not. That's
not.
No.
That might be.
Have you? Who are you closest with between the two of them?
It's hard to say. Like,
have you gotten chat much?
Pretty even. Like, at first, Matt would reach out to me way more.
Yeah.
Because I know Matt's son, like Kurt.
Oh no way.
This guy, yeah. So like, Matt would reach out to me way more. But then me and Mike sat down. We had a couple meals together. So I think generally it's pretty the same. It's like all across the world is like a mutual respect.
That's good.
I don't know if they like each other that much. I haven't really asked. It doesn't seem like it, but
I feel like longtime politicians end up having some sort of beef.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a mutual respect.
Wait a minute. What if they're the ones that are doing the beef, and then at the end of this election. They're gonna fight.
No way.
They're gonna fight, and then
What if they're like
gonna hug.
longtime best friends?
Whoa.
I'm just saying, if that happens,
Holy
I'm placing my
shit.
bet on them hugging at the end.
Oh,
I'm just saying it. That would be
that
huge.
hadn't even crossed my mind.
Man.
That's why we all think alike. All three of those men, me, Mike, Matt, we're all thinking the same thing.
Yeah, just trying to beat up our best friends.
You're gonna be so upset.
Exploit
This comes out.
your friendships.
Is this-
1 hour. Hey, there we are.
All right. Thank you so much, man. It was an absolute pleasure to get
Yeah.
to know you.
Thank you, boys.
Thank you for doing what none of us wanted to do. And thank you for bringing up the voting numbers
Yeah,
substantially.
already.
Thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure to meet you, man.
It's been a pleasure to be on the show, boys. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
This was a great time.
All right. Oh my God. You want some water, man?
Oh, hell yeah, man. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. You can also follow us at Setting It Straight Podcast on Facebook, Instagram. I think that's it.
That's it. Also, if you want to check out older episodes or stay locked in and find new episodes, look for us on Spotify, Google Play, and Apple Music. Or, of course, you can stay and look at videos on YouTube. Thanks, guys.